So you're looking to do your first deal, and you're thinking if you could just have somebody to handhold you through it and take half the deal in exchange, this could work. But I can promise you, as this model has proven itself, it very rarely works. Because the guru is generally more interested in getting his hands on either your money or that deal that you painstakingly brought in, and he's not as interested in educating you on it. He knows that if you didn't have the money to pay for coaching, you probably ain't got the money to pay for the house, right? So you bring in this deal, and then suddenly, and listen, I've heard this so many times I've lost count. I found a deal. This guy said he was going to split it with me. I got the deal to him. As far as I can tell, he closed on it, and I haven't heard from him since.
Where'd he go?
Well, he's gone. Poof.
Check, 1 2 1 2.
Turn it up.
Welcome to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast.
The tides are turning. The time is now.
Your home for the mindset, methodology, and tools needed to invest in foreclosures.
Don't you dare buy a house. Buy a deal. You need to get into this right now.
Yeah.
And now your host, the Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donnie Corum.
Hello, and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. I am your host and Foreclosure Deals Coach, Donnie Corum, broadcasting live from our downtown Denver studios with my executive producer and the guy with the silky smooth voice coming on every single week, Mr. Jonathan Winston. What up, man?
Hello to all our deal hunters.
You see what he's doing right there?
No.
That was the smoothness. You just have to slide that in on you.
No. You know, I'm just I'm doing all right, man. It's been a good week. Got a good deal that's percolating. Setting up a showing for that, or to go view it potentially this weekend. And got some pretty good books that I'm reading right now as well. So I know that I kind of mentioned in a previous episode how I'm continuing to step up my reading regimen and things like that. And I've been pretty excited and, feeling pretty good about the ones I picked out to kind of tackle over the next few months. So it's been cool.
That's awesome, man. And I got to tell you, the ongoing education piece is really what this show is about today, and talking about how to get into your first deal. A lot of people are struggling with that. Before we get into that, though, a couple housekeeping. This is brought to you by the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders Group. You're going to want to join that group as soon as possible because it is a surefire way to get involved in the conversation. So head out to foreclosed.co. That's 4CLSD.co/FDCI for Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders. That will also be posted to the show notes here. It is free to join the group. We welcome all comers here. We want to meet you guys out there, the wonderful listeners of the show, and get you more information about how to become a successful foreclosure investor.
Come hang out with us.
Man, we love it, man. It's a great place to hang out. We're going to be doing some fun stuff in there. Valuation sessions. We meet up once a week. We're going to determine the value of a property using the dealhunter.io application. So if you want to get a good insight on how to get started, you first have to know how to do an analysis on a property. We're going to work with you each and every week to bring you the latest in that. So stay tuned for that. With that, let's get to our foreclosure news of the day. This is good, man. Housing Wire reports the hottest zip codes in the U.S. markets right now. Now, where do you think? Now, we got a big, vast country, all these different towns and cities, but where, Jonathan, do you think the hottest zip code for real estate is right now in the U.S. of A? Where is that right now? What do you think?
So in the U.S. of A,
yes,
right now, it's August, summer, the Rona is running wild.
Got a lot of Rona. What do you think?
I mean, if we're going by by me,
yeah,
I'm trying to go to Miami. I want to go to Florida. I'm trying to be on the beach and, responsibly.
That's the hottest beaches in the U.S. That's not the hottest real estate market.
Okay. Well,
you're wishful though.
Yeah.
I like where your heart's at.
Well, let's just see, man. I'm not sure. I'm
well, check out the article. It's in the show notes. We're going to post it up there. We're going to post it to the group, post it to the page so you can get out there. But Housing Wire reports, wait for it now, Colorado Springs, Colorado has the hottest zip code in the United States of America right now. And not only Colorado Springs, Colorado, okay, because that's where I grew up. I went to Liberty High School, class of 1995. We moved there from Hawaii when I was just a kid, 3rd grade through 12th grade. I was raised in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and now it's the hottest zip code. But wait for this, 80911. Now, if you are familiar with Colorado Springs, you know that's a security wide field area, kind of the south by southeast part of town, okay? So the reason that zip code is so hot is twofold. Number one, it's one of the few areas where you can still buy a single family residence under $300,000. Now, I know if you're listening in Texas or Arkansas or even most of Florida, you're thinking 300 grand. That's affordable. That's affordable for Colorado Springs.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? The security wide field area is one of the most affordable areas, and a lot of that is driven. A lot of the market is driven by our fine military personnel, the men and women who serve our country. Fort Carson, one of the largest military installations in the country, is located there. That's just the beginning. We also have Schriever Air Force Base out east, Peterson Air Force Base more north and east. The Air Force Academy is in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So we have a lot of military installations in Colorado, and that's one of the reasons, because obviously the military personnel is still well employed, doing their jobs for us, keeping us safe and sound, and we much appreciate you guys doing that. But because of that, the zip code has not been affected at all by the Rona. Right? If anything, it's gone the other way. The combination of lower interest rates is driving a lot of fine military personnel to use their VA loan. The most powerful buying tool in all of real estate is the VA loan. And why is that? Because the interest rates are stupid low. Last VA loan I saw came in at 2.475 on a 30-year fixed, which is insane. Okay, it's like zero down.
Oh, what?
So by virtue of you being active or retired military, you get the VA benefit with no money out of your pocket, right? And, of course, there's the base housing allowance, which is a benefit that military personnel get to live in off-base housing. The military gives them a stipend on their check, which is well-deserved. I grew up in military housing, and some of it's nice. Some of it's nice, and some of it ain't so nice, right? So these soldiers are getting the means now to buy a house with nothing out of pocket and start building their wealth using the VA loan. And I got to tell you, if you're one of our fine military personnel out there and you're on the fence whether or not to buy, this is proof right now. That zip code 80911 being hot, the hottest one in the U.S., tells us with absolute certainty now is the time to do it, because the interest rates are stupid low and a lot of your military brethren are doing so. So just listen, get off your butt there and get moving, right? Don't worry about renting anymore. Rental rates have gone through the roof in Colorado Springs, but buying, because of the low interest rates, is still affordable. Now, I warn you, obviously, because this is the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast, that a market that is super hot has to go somewhere in the end, right? And where does it have to go? It's got to cool. It's got to cool off. It's got to go down, right? We don't know when. We don't know how. We don't know why. We would have thought coronavirus would have been the ultimate decider of a market going from super hot to going down. Right? What's that?
At least that's what they make you think. Right?
That's what they want you to believe, right? It turns out it went quite the opposite. It turns out in most markets across the country, because, and again, I don't need the political post, but a lot of it was the presidential current administration's idea of printing as much money as they could, thus dropping the interest rate to lows we have never, I repeat, never seen before, that basically spurned the real estate market into a better situation in a lot of cases than it was before. But we have to note that it's somewhat artificial. Right? Because at the end of the day, if you're pumping money in, if interest rates are too low and unemployment, which is higher than usual because of the coronavirus, at some point this train has to fall off. Basically, we don't know when. I still think real estate is the most powerful investing tool, particularly if you're not looking for a house, but rather a deal.
Right. That's what we do here.
And that's what we do here. Right? So with that, check out the article. Colorado Springs wins hottest zip code in the country. Just incredible. Let's get going. So I'm out there perusing Facebook land, and I got to tell you, social media annoys me. Like, just like across the board, like I understand the need for it. And the only reason I'm really on social media is because it's where I meet with you guys, my fellow deal hunters out there, and I get to have some incredible conversations. When I say that it annoys me, it's because there's so much political stuff going on right now with the election coming. There's so much cultural aversion going on right now with all of the current debate that's happening out there, Black Lives Matter, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So from a standpoint of time suck, social media is pretty high on there on ruining a lot of time. That being said, it is where I get to meet and help people a lot with their real estate needs. And it's also where I learn a lot about real estate myself. So it's not a one-way street by any means. I pick up as much as I deliver from the experts who are far beyond me in the real estate field. And I'll acknowledge that, there's a lot of people playing at or above my level that I get a ton from just by hanging out in these real estate groups. So This is a long way to say that somebody posted, I'm looking for a mentor to split the first deal with. Right? Okay. And when you post something like that, you have basically opened the doors for the gurus.
Hey,
and I'm doing air quotes right now.
Let me show you exactly how to do it the way that you should be doing it because I told you to do it. And because I told you, you should give me a very healthy chunk of this deal that we're going to do.
Absolutely. And so the gurus come out of the water like, I can help you. We can split our first deal, yada, yada. Now, as you know, I'm the Foreclosure Deals Coach. It's a paid coaching program. We try to deliver as much free information as we can, but the reality is the long-term goal is that you'll hit a point where you believe that you need to invest in a professional coach to help you through your first or subsequent deal. That's the basis for the entire show. We don't do it in a salesy manner. I don't push it down your throat all the time. I let the Foreclosure Deals Coach do the talking, the podcast do the education, and you decide what's best for you. But I had to jump in on this one, right? I had to jump in and go, listen, I know this is what you think you want, but it's not what you want. Now, you're listening to this show and you're going, man, that sounds pretty good. Like if I could do my first deal and split it with a guy who wanted to help me through the first deal, a guy with tons of experience like myself. For the record, my team and I have done over 200 flips in my career. And we are targeting doing 50 flips right here in 2020. I'll level with you and say the corona's got us a little bit behind, but we're at 29 deals right now for the year. So we're well on the way. Okay, so very experienced, and it seems like teaming up with me to do your first deal would be the best path, but it's just not. And I'll tell you why, okay? Right out of the gate, you have to remember that not everybody in the real estate world, particularly the education side, is your friend. An entire network of gurus popped up in about, let's say, right after the real crash, 2008, 2009, the guru movement formed up quite a bit where people figured out it was far more profitable to teach real estate than it was to do real estate. The beginning of the guru movement was Carlton Sheets. And you guys, I imagine most of my listeners are too young to remember this, but if you are old enough, you may remember Carlton Sheets had this whole course going on doing no money down real estate, and he would come on late night TV. I've been a night owl most of my life, so I would be up at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, checking out his paid program and getting super excited about buying real estate with no money down. And I don't want to say that all gurus, including Mr. Sheets, were bad for the industry. There was some incredible information delivered out there, but because information was much harder to come by than it was before, it is today, right, where you can just hop on YouTube and get this stuff. Right. These guys made a small fortune, and in many cases a large fortune, teaching people how to do what they did. The reality is most of the education that was offered on these late night TV shows got you just enough info to be extremely dangerous. Right? You learn just enough to cause yourself financial harm, right? Not to get a deal done. And again, that wasn't by design. Real estate is a localized business. In the end, you must have a local person who understands the local market to help you out. So that was the problem that was created by these national courses. The next phase of that was the webinar series, seminar series, right, where people would come into town, and one comes to mind, Van Merrill comes to mind, as he blows into town and he says, I can help you to do real estate right here in your local market. How's the Van Merrill impression? Was that good?
I think that kind of sounds like it.
Yeah, no, the guy, now Van was the star of A&E's Flip This House. He had done a ton of flips himself, very, very experienced. There's nothing wrong with learning from an experienced guy, but Van charged out the wazoo, baby. Like, you're talking about a course that was going to run you $20,000 to $30,000 to really get to the level that you were able to actually get a deal done. Now, was it worth it? Absolutely, right? If you're getting education from a top-level player and you're paying him for it so he's got motivation, it was worth it. But the failure rate became extremely high. So that model sort of fell apart a little bit. And it fell apart because it was so expensive that it was cost prohibitive for most people. And then the information rarely got people to actually doing a first deal. I can't tell you how many clients I met with as a real estate agent who served investors where they had bought these courses and spent tens or $20,000 and had not yet done a deal.
Hi, this is Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. It's important to have good credit when you're buying a foreclosure. A lot of people think you can come in with bad credit, but the fact of the matter is you need pretty stable credit scores to buy a foreclosure deal. So how do you find out how to increase your credit? Well, there's tons of credit repair agencies out there and multiple formulas, but one thing we found that works is reporting your monthly rental payments to the credit bureau. We partnered with rentreporters.com, the leading provider of adding your payment history direct from your landlord onto your credit bureau scores, and it helping people to boost their scores up to 40 points in as little as 30 days. So to get started, I want you to head on out to www.foreclosuredealscoach.com. Now that's a messenger bot, and you're going to use the keyword rent to get more information about Rent Reporters and how you can boost your credit score by getting your rental reported to the credit bureaus. Once again, Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. Check it out.
So enter the third millennium of real estate education, and you've got the local guru, if you will, right? And I actually worked under a local guru, and I learned a lot. I credit Mr. Michael Jake, you should look him up. I credit him with basically where I am today because there are good gurus out there. This is not to say that it can't be done, but I can tell you at no point did Mike offer to split a deal with me. What he said was, if you do this deal, I will get paid for it on the assignment fee, he's signing it over, and I will assist you on doing your first deal, which is exactly what he did. And then we worked together for years. We did split some deals down the road, but the general mindset was you're going to pay me up front, and then I'm going to teach you what you're supposed to be doing. That model has functioned for years. It is still functioning today. What is not functioning is what people think they want because they don't have money, and I understand that. You're starting out. You're probably broke. I was broke when I started out. I totally get where you're at, okay? That's not a bad thing. We gotta figure out how to get you past broke so you can do this correctly. Because when you split a deal, what had happened is these gurus were setting up all over the country and saying, I'll do your first deal with you, and I'll share in the profits with you. I'll split it down the middle when you find the deal and bring it in, right? What they left out was they were really using that as a way to get a deal source from all over the country from unwitting wannabe investors who didn't know their head from their butts yet, and these guys were using it to take advantage of them. Wow. Okay, and that is most of the gurus online who offer to split a deal with you. I'm not saying all. If you're one of the gurus out there, I don't need the hate mail. I get it. You're probably the only one out there who's
nice
legit.
Guy. Yeah,
I'm sure. You're the last.
Great.
You're the last legit gurus. Okay, I know they exist because I happen to be a coach myself. I don't like the term guru. That's got a negative connotation to it now. But I understand that there are guys out there who are killing it. Okay, you look at the Alex Youngbloods out there, who's got the wholesaling houses for elite group. Corey Nicole, who we had on the show, right? There are some solid mentors out there. Max Maxwell, got to give it up to that guy. His content is fire, man. Okay, so there are some good guys out there. But look at the common theme of all three of the people I just mentioned. Most of the education that they offer is free.
Okay.
See the difference there? Yeah. Right? They have paid courses, but they get you started for free. So you're looking to do your first deal, and you're thinking if you could just have somebody to handhold you through it and take half the deal in exchange, this could work. But I can promise you, as this model has proven itself, it very rarely works. Because the guru is generally more interested in getting his hands on either your money or that deal that you painstakingly brought in, and he's not as interested in educating you on it. He knows that if you didn't have the money to pay for coaching, you probably ain't got the money to pay for the house, right? So you bring in this deal, and then suddenly, and listen, I've heard this so many times I've lost count. I found a deal. This guy said he was going to split it with me. I got the deal to him. As far as I can tell, he closed on it, and I haven't heard from him since.
Where'd he go?
Well, he's gone. Poof. Gone in 60 seconds, baby.
Man, he pulled out in that car that he had bought from the 3 previous people that he pulled that move on.
That's right. And that's the game. So you're out there in podcast land wondering how you're going to get your first deal started. You're hearing me, and a couple people have even suggested that to me. Hey, could you mentor me through my first deal and we could split it? And I say, listen, I don't operate that way. You know, and here's the thing. I'm not deterring you from doing your first deal. I think you're going to find that the majority of people who are doing their first deal right now are doing so through the most powerful education platform of our time, YouTube. Right? You can go out there and get more free education than you can shake a stick at right now. And the fact of the matter is, if you don't feel like you've got enough information to do your first deal yet, it's because, and you'll forgive me for saying it, but you're still kind of lazy in this piece, right? You're still expecting somebody's going to handhold you through that first deal and do this for you. And as long as you're in that mindset, you're going to struggle with this business. But when you get out there, and if you got a concern, you don't know where to move, you post in one of these big Facebook groups, you post in the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders group, and you say, this is where I'm stuck, can you guys help? And then people who only have an interest in helping you because you haven't paid them, right? They're not splitting a deal with you, they're not looking to take advantage of you, who people who only want to help you are chiming in and going to provide you with the information to get past it. But you have to get through it and do that first deal on your own. You know, and that's a big thing, okay? I have to tell you that my coaching product doesn't require that you've done a deal on your own. It requires that you've stepped down that road, though, right? That you've gotten the PropStream software from dealhunter.io, and and you've learned how to do analysis. That we've maybe had some conversation about finance, so we understand how you're going to pay for it, or if you're going to wholesale it. Right? You understand how that process is going to go. And I want that before any of your money moves over to my coaching program, because I only want to coach people who have a high probability of making it. But I got to be frank with you. You can just hang out with me for 3 to 4 months. You have enough information to do your deal. And I'm not just tooting my own horn here. That's the reality of any guru. When I was working with my local mentor, I said, I'm going to be your assistant for the next couple of months. He said, I'm not looking for an assistant. I get that. But I'm going to be your assistant for the next 3 to 4 months or so. And I'm not going to leave your side until I figure this thing out. You know, and that's how I got it done. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. You can now hop on to this very podcast you're listening to right now, and you can get all the information you need to do a deal. And if you can't find it on my podcast, there are, 20, 30, 50 others that if you listen to enough of them, you'll find it there. And if you can't find it there, then you can head over to YouTube and you can Google, I'm trying to figure out how to wholesale a house, and get several hundred videos there. And if you can't answer it there, you can hop onto Facebook, go to any number of groups, and ask people where you've gotten stuck. So you have absolutely no excuse now for not doing your first deal.
Yeah, you didn't even mention books. So, like, even if you don't even like to read, man.
Wait, do people still read?
Yeah, like, you don't even have to do that. Like, there's a lot of things that you can do to figure this stuff out.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? Because I don't think that you're going to find a guru willing to invest their time on the theory, at least not a reputable one, on the theory that you may find a profitable deal that they can then split with you. Okay, and if a guy is touting that, I got to be frank with you, there's a pretty good shot there's at least lack of genuineness somewhere hidden back there, right? You may not find it right away, but by the time you do, more than likely he's got his hands in your checkbook. Okay, and I hate that because I love this industry. I love you guys, the listeners of my show. I love being a part of watching the growth. And I got to say that although watching the numbers as we can keep increasing on download count week after week and more people are tuning into the show, that warms my heart. I love it because this is a fun thing for me. But on top of that, getting the feedback where people are going, Donnie's podcast is fire. That's great information. I learned a lot from listening to you. I'm now in the process of doing my first deal. And then for those who have crossed over to the coaching side, being a part of actually walking you through the 4 steps of foreclosure investing, finding, funding, fixing, and flipping your way to freedom, that's the best part of my day. I'm not going to kid you. But I tell you that I, unfortunately, am a rarity. There's just not that many guys out there who have done over 200 transactions and then on top of that still care about people enough to make sure they get to the finish line, right? So I'm warning you right now. You think that's what you want. You believe in your heart that's what you need. But as a guy who's been doing this a long time, as a guy who's watched countless people posting that they sent X amount of money to a guy or they agreed to split a deal, so they sent the deal over to the guy and then never heard from him again. And listen, I'm sorry I'm being sexist here on the guy thing. I've heard this on the female side too. There are as many scandalous female gurus out there that there are
He's
men.
so scandalous.
He just wrote a song about that. That's how good he is.
That's Nate Dogg right there. That's old school. Y'all don't know
look at
about that.
That's hot. It's hot. So don't get it twisted, right? Don't get it twisted. This is not an easy path. Your first deal is not going to be any different than you trying to walk a balance beam as a gymnast or trying to knock a ball out of the park as a baseball player or consistently hitting your first 3-point shot. All of these things take dedication and time.
Got to put in the reps.
That's what it's going to take. And if you really think you're going to shortcut what took me 15 years to perfect, it's not fair. I'm not going to lie to you. Like you get to walk in and do what took me 15 years of life dedication. I was so dedicated to my real estate career that one of my first marriage dissolved. Right? I gave up everything for this industry, and I'm not asking for I don't need your sympathy. I'm saying I gave it all. You started last week, and you want to find a way to get handheld through your first deal without putting in any actual effort.
Doesn't work like that.
Do you see the variable there? Do you want to change your life or don't you? Do you want to be financially successful in real estate or don't you? Do you want to be a real estate investor, a deal hunter, or don't you? And if the answer is yes, I implore you, don't worry about the paid resources. You don't need my coaching right now, okay? This is not me saying, hey, sign up, become a coach with me. If you're getting started today, this is the first episode you listened to, you haven't done anything real estate related, I don't want you to coach with me yet. I wouldn't even bring you in, okay? I want you to go out there and get educated. There's so much free information out there. Within a matter of a few hours, we had a guy on the show, Derek Medina, who talked about how he hopped onto YouTube, watched a couple of videos, and now here he is a year later having done 15 to 20 deals at massive profit numbers. Okay, it could be you. You just have to decide to go take it. And then if you get stuck somewhere along the way, if you're looking to expand and you have some capital to invest, or maybe you've done your first deal and you screwed up everything like I did. If you listen to the first show, I managed to do it all wrong, but I was still profitable, right? Then if you decide it's time to invest in a professional coach like myself or the other options that are out there, then I want you to jump in and do that, but not in your first deal. And you certainly do not want to partner with one of these gurus out there who's going to take half your deal. Okay, so I'm going to get off my soapbox. I know I get a little aggressive with you guys, but it's out of love, right? At the end of the day, I want to see you doing well, and it breaks my heart when I see people blowing their life savings on the wrong coaching or guru, and some people who just shouldn't have been coaching at all.
Right.
You're just not in that place yet. Get educated for free. Keep listening to the show. A lot of you are. A lot of you are reaching out and said, I got a lot of this, I got a lot out of that. That helped quite a bit. Could you clarify here? And if you want to get that clarity, as we mentioned, the sponsor of the show today is our group, the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders Group. Absolutely free to join. You can hop in there. We're building membership there. Right? So we can have a discussion about the mindset, methodology, and tools to become a successful foreclosure investor. But this isn't going to happen overnight. You got to dedicate the time, and you got to dedicate the educational resources to find out what you don't know so you can become successful in the long term. Are we having fun yet?
I'm loving it. What about you guys? What do y'all think?
I mean, I think some of them I'm scared off. You guys still there?
Hey, come back, dude.
Is this thing on?
Hey, what's up?
Are you crying? No crying in foreclosures.
Man, come on, man.
All right, I'm going to let you go with that. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an incredible time in the marketplace right now. We're having such a good time. The team locally is taking off. So many houses going on, so many deals to do. If you're having trouble get started, you're lacking one thing and one thing only, education. Not hand-holding, not splitting the deal, not a mentor. If you haven't found yourself in your first deal, it's because you haven't gotten the education that you need. The good news is, as part of the Foreclosure Deals Coach Insiders group, I want to officially invite you into the group so we can have a discussion about where you're stuck and then see if coaching is right for you. It certainly might be. You might be farther ahead than a lot of the newbies out there, but if it doesn't describe you yet, just keep getting educated. I promise from the bottom of my heart, you're going to get there. I swear. All right? With that, this is Donnie Corum, your Foreclosure Deals Coach, reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.
Want more of the Foreclosure Deals Coach? Hit subscribe and stay tuned for more of the mindset, methodology, and tools you'll need to invest in foreclosures. Visit foreclosuredealscoach.com and text DEAL to get a list of foreclosures in your area.